On behalf of all of us at CGI, let me thank you very much and welcome you to our mid-year meeting. As with all CGI meetings, this one is focused on commitments to action, which are the distinguishing and defining features of the CGI model. And we've divided the day into two principal parts, with this morning devoted to working sessions that we hope will turbocharge some of our members' existing commitments between now and the annual meeting in September. And the idea for this came from Chelsea Clinton, who we will hear from in a moment, but she helped us understand the importance of second movers, those who have the perspective and humility to build on great ideas rather than trying to feel compelled to create something new in every instance. So in the spirit of this year's annual theme, Mobilizing for Impact, each of our 9 working sessions will take one of two approaches to commitment development, either scaling or replicating great existing commitments, or advancing promising commitments that are still in development and could benefit from some additional support. With both approaches, we are looking for ways to mobilize individuals, organizations, and resources to create greater impact by doubling down on very high-quality commitment ideas. Before turning this over to Chelsea, let me briefly walk you through today's agenda. The 9 simultaneous working sessions will take place immediately following this session, 2 floors down in the Executive Conference Center, which will essentially be the place other than this floor where everything will take place. We'll bounce back and forth between the 2 floors. We'll return here at 1 o'clock for an informal networking lunch. Then it's back downstairs for the wrap-up of the working sessions, and then back here at 3:30 for the afternoon sessions. The first of these 3 will be an announcement by President Clinton, Secretary Clinton, and Mayor Pais of Rio de Janeiro about an exciting new chapter at CGI. The second will be a commitment announcement by Mayor Bloomberg in his role as head of the C40 Mayors Climate Leadership Group. And the third afternoon session will be a panel discussion moderated by President Clinton, including Mayor Bloomberg, Mayor Pais, and representatives from the private sector and the nonprofit sector, and the topic is building resilient cities in the face of climate change and natural disaster. The final session is cocktails just across the hall from here. It's now my pleasure to introduce the youngest namesake of the Bill, Hillary, and Chelsea Clinton Foundation. Chelsea is a member of the board of the Clinton Foundation, and on a personal level, I've had the privilege of working very closely with her over the past couple of years as a member of the CGI advisory group and as someone who has increasingly rolled up her sleeves and taken a deep interest in the day-to-day work of CGI and CGI University and our other platforms. As I mentioned earlier, her thinking on the importance of second movers or second comers was central in how we structured the working sessions today. So please join me in welcoming Chelsea Clinton.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being with us. I'm just going to speak for a couple of minutes because then I will invite Bob back onto the stage and we will open the floor to questions. I think by starting with a question and answer session this morning, we underscore our commitment to making today very much about the how. How do we help you translate your ideas for commitments into commitments to action and action plans, and also how can we learn from you so that we at CGI are ever focused on becoming more efficient and effective in helping to mobilize, hopefully, an ever-growing community of change makers in the world. As Bob mentioned, our sort of orientation today is on determining how best to be second. There is, I think, an understandable, but often an almost claustrophobic pressure to be first. And it's understandable because clearly innovations have helped our lives be healthier, have helped us live longer, make the world more interesting. I certainly now, although a relatively recent convert to social media, can't imagine waking up in the morning and after saying good morning to my husband, checking my Twitter feed. So innovation is important. But almost every problem has been solved somewhere by someone. And I think the sense of urgency that we all feel about where our world is, where our country is, where our city is at this moment in time really compels us to focus on identifying what is working, how it's working, and how then we can mobilize our resources and find the right partners to learn from what's working already, and then in the places where there really aren't solutions, to harness our energies and our attention there to devise something, to innovate, to create a new way forward. So we hope that this will resonate with all of you and be useful for all of you. And we hope that each of you will be very forthright with all of us about how we can continue to ensure that CGI serves the work that you want to do in the world and helps you indeed mobilize to find the right partners and match with the right resources to create the world that we know we all want to live in. Because very much we sometimes think that CGI kind of is a fully formed being, but it's not even 10 years old yet. And so we know that although the organic growth has been remarkable, we still have a lot to learn. And the humility that Bob talked about is something that we also very much are committed to at CGI. So thank you for being here. Please share your ideas with us about how we can better help you, help your commitments, how we can help younger commitment makers at CGIU, and how we can all be effective as we mobilize for impact. So I'd like to invite Bob out and open the floor to ask questions of us, but also to share your ideas. So thank you again for being with us. Bob?
Thanks, Chelsea. That was excellent, and I have no doubt that the Clinton Foundation will be in very, very good hands for a very, very long time. So we'd like to open this up to questions now, and also any goals that you might have for today's session, anything that you in particular would like to get out of today, we'd love to hear about. We're going to start this off by turning to two people who have agreed to help us lead working sessions downstairs, and they have been involved with CGI for a number of years, and I'm going to ask them to say a few words about their work and also their goals for the day. The first of these is Andrea Coleman. Andrea is the founder and CEO of Riders for Health, and her connection with CGI goes back to 2007 when she committed to transform healthcare delivery in Gambia through a vehicle leasing program. And that program has been such a success that it has now expanded into 7 African countries. Andrea, I can't see you in the audience, but I know you're here.
Good morning, Bob. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for inviting me and also for highlighting the, as it were, the elephant in the room of global health, which is infrastructure and transportation. The work of Riders for Health is focused on making sure that transport works to enable access to healthcare in the harshest of conditions and in what everybody here knows of as the last mile, quite a euphemism, as we know it's at least 500 very difficult and harsh miles, and so many of the people who I admire so much in the health work that they do must always have difficulty with transportation. So that is our focus. Our leasing program, as Bob mentioned, is really based on the concept of maintenance, to make sure that vehicles don't break, so that health delivery is reliable, predictable, and cost-effective. And we have done our first commitment at CGI is a program in the Gambia where we leased on a full service lease to the Ministry of Health a full fleet of vehicles for public health, primary health, and referrals for maternal and newborn health. And it has been such a success that the minister was able to tell us 2 weeks ago that this is the first time ever he and his ministry have been able to build a health strategy for the hardest to reach, for the rural people in his country. Our new commitment is in Kenya to replicate that successful program. We need partners, and partners, I'd like to say, in infrastructure. Is it boring? Yes, really boring. Is it important? Yes, it's really important. Is it optional? No, it's not optional. So if there are partners here who'd like to work with Riders for Health on any basis in terms of developing infrastructure, something that's going to really be a game changer, a platform on which you can accelerate the MDGs, then I'd like to talk to anybody who's willing to do that. And later on, I hope some of you will be at our toolbox for the Global Health Initiative toolbox, which is on replication and scale. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Next is Trish Tierney, who's the Executive Director of the Institute of International Education. And Trish is going to be working in her session today on leveraging technology to expand opportunities for girls and women in emerging markets. And the genesis of this, from her perspective, her dedication to this area goes back to her work at Cisco, which incidentally is one of the founding members of CGI going back to 2005. And when she was at Cisco, she created the Networking Academy program, which operates in 50 of the world's least developed countries. Trish?
Thank you, Bob. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you.
As Bob mentioned, the Institute of International Education, we're working in partnership with Secretary of State's Office of Global Women's Issues to create a commitment that will promote women and girls in technology in emerging markets. With the dramatic growth of internet and mobile phones, technology has become one of the fastest growing labor markets in the world. And with that, unfortunately, we're still seeing an incredibly large talent gap. In fact, the US Department of Labor predicts that half of the computing jobs created over the next 5 years will go unfilled if current trends continue. We know that we don't have enough women and girls going into ICT fields, and the stubbornly low number of women going into this area needs to be addressed, and this commitment will work towards that. And we will hope that by educating, training, and retaining more women in this field, there will be a big effort to rebalance the labor market. Also, we are very excited to be working towards creating more opportunities for girls and women, particularly in emerging markets, because that is where the future talent is coming from. And there are a lot of efforts underway in the US and in Europe to address these issues, but not so much in the emerging markets. And so we need to turn our attention to that future talent growth area. In our workshop today, we will discuss the fact that we are hoping to promote girls and women by addressing and fixing the leaks throughout the pipeline. We will excite young girls by early exposure to technology. We will link women across geographies and generations as mentors and role models. And we will support training and scholarship programs to improve the opportunities for women and girls in these areas. We will also hear of specific challenges and opportunities facing girls and women as they consider ICT careers in our 3 pilot countries, Brazil, India, and Kenya. We will also learn from the collective wisdom in the room what people are already doing to bolster women and girls in tech. So as Chelsea mentioned, we really want to take a look at what's being done to leverage those resources and to scale up, not to create all over again. And finally, we will spur each other to action. We hope that every person in the room will leave inspired, having dug deep to think about what he or she can do to promote this work and this program and have a concrete plan for investing in women, leading women in ICT. Thank you.
Thank you. I am very eager to learn from you after the working session, because this is something I'm deeply passionate about here in the United States. One of the ignominious realities of women in technology here at home is that we've actually lost ground. So in 1987, which is the year that Santa gave me a computer for Christmas, a Commodore, women comprised about 36–37% of computer science graduates. About a decade later, around the time I sent my first email, that number had dropped to about 25%. And last year it was probably 16, maybe 17%. So this is an area where we have lost ground profoundly in the United States, even as here, like in the countries where you're working, technology has been the largest generator of new jobs. And the statistics that you cited about kind of, outside the United States, the prospect for the kind of further leaving behind of women and girls from technology opportunities also sadly is true here. I mean, we're expected to have a net million new jobs in technology in the next 8 to 10 years. And not only are we not graduating enough STEM majors here, if the current trends continue, fewer than 10% of those will be filled by women. And we can't expect to succeed, much less, sort of win the 21st century if we leave a whole gender behind. And I think that's true for our world, and that's sadly also certainly true for our country. So I'm really excited to learn what we can be doing better here in the United States from what you are finding work in places like Brazil or India or further afield. So thank you. Please, are there any questions? Are there any ideas?
Chelsea, can
Bob?
I just mention that the Harrison family is doing its part on this note. My 18-year-old daughter, my oldest daughter, is going to be a freshman next year, and her favorite subjects are math, chemistry, and physics.
That's awesome. Personal testimonials are also very welcome. But truly, are there questions? Are there comments? Yes.
Good morning. I'm Karen Panetta. I'm the founder of the Nerd Girls program, and I'm also representative here today for the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, the largest professional organization in the world of scientists and engineers. And as a past worldwide director of women in engineering, I thank you for your comments. But when I was here last time, I was inspired by President Clinton's speech about how you actually engaged people, Ms. Clinton, with social media to get volunteers for a natural disaster. And one of the things that I saw was there are 9 different areas here at the Clinton Global Initiative. And what I saw was you all need technology. And I'm here today to tell you that I have 480,000 engineers around the world who would love to volunteer to give you their expertise in technology. 200,000 of them are students looking for projects all around the world. We do open source software, we develop electrical systems, clean water systems, as well as food and water safety, and also educational, distance education. One of the things that's close to heart is that women around the world aren't afforded great education, and I learned last time I was here that mobile devices are key to people being able to access that education. In response, what I did was I went through all the Clinton Global Initiative nonprofits, and my students have developed specifications for mobile applications for 29 of your partners. So there are nonprofits here. We've developed those applications for you. They're free, they will be open source, and I will commit that we will get you 40,000 engineers around the world to help you fulfill your technology needs for free.
Thank you. I have a feeling you're going to be a very popular person here today. Other questions or comments or offers of open source partnership? Yes.
I'm Dennis Feldy, founding president of Keystone Human Services, and been a member of CGI since 2007. And have been very interested in issues of autism, intellectual disability, mental disability, as a central theme that touches on almost all of the issues that are being addressed within CGI. And young boys and girls that are intellectually disabled are exposed to some of the most extreme forms of exploitation, neglect, every imaginable form of assault and abuse. And nobody knows, but there may be several million people that are incarcerated, through no fault of their own. And these issues have become huge issues within the United States and within other countries. I know that CGI has been working on making these issues more visible, and I thought the last annual meeting was terrific in terms of them becoming more visible. And very interested in what your thinking is of what role these issues may have within CGI in the coming years.
Well, as you know, the way we have over the past several years evolved is through the 9 tracks that are represented downstairs later today in the working sessions. And health has been around since day one of CGI in 2005. It's been one of the more robust areas for commitment making and for program over the years. And I know that the 2 track managers for health, Amanda Chen and Laura Salia, are very focused on trying to engage people in specific subtopics involving health, like autism or severe disabilities, through the track process. Last year we had 73 convenings of various types in 2012, which were on specific topics. So my suggestion is that in the course of your working session, mention to Laura and Amanda a specific idea, and I'm sure they'll be responsive.
And as much as you hear at CGI, we like to talk about being in the how business. We also, at the Clinton Foundation more broadly, are in the how business, and we also believe that those of us that can do things should do things, particularly in areas that historically have been neglected. And one of my passions is the juvenile justice system, because I think it makes people very uncomfortable that we've incarcerated 53-some-odd thousand young men and women on any given day across the country. And that system really hasn't changed since the 1950s in most states. And so one of the things that we're working on is how do we try to help inject a public health framework in the juvenile justice system, particularly given at the Clinton Foundation, in our partnership with the American Heart Association, we're the largest anti-childhood obesity program in the country. And so what would it really look like if we could help reform the food system and the healthcare system for our juveniles, because almost all of them are going to get out. And I certainly at least want them to believe that they have the chance to make different choices in life. So if this is something you want to talk to us about at the foundation, I'd be happy to have that conversation.
Time for one more.
Good morning. My name is Ajay Shah, and I'm the CEO of Frontier Markets and a new addition to the CGI community. In context to the conversation about technology, we work in last mile distribution of clean energy products in India. And one of the challenges that social businesses face in last mile distribution is that it's a volumes effort, a lot of scale, and a lot of human resources on the ground. So in light of technology, social businesses that aren't in that space are always scared of integrating it because they don't know enough information. So we're hoping to actually implement a pilot this year on incorporating technology, mobile-based solutions, and CRM database for last mile distribution. And one, to obviously connect with you and you in terms of resourcing people for these projects and trying to understand how to use it as an example for other social businesses so that we can finally integrate into different sectors.
Great. Well, thank you very much. I think it's time to move on to the working sessions. Thank you again for joining us today. The working sessions, as I said, are downstairs, 2 levels below this in the Executive Conference Center, and we will look forward to seeing you back here at 1 o'clock for lunch. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make your way to your breakout sessions on the ECC level. Thank you.